Hello everyone and welcome to the last game we'll be showing from the rapid section of the Grandchester Super United Croatia tournament. It is Anish Giri versus Levon Aronyan. It is the final round and the game is just spectacular. You guys will really love it. And well, so far Levon lost one game. He lost to Fabiano Caruana. Anish also lost to Fabiano Caruana, but he also lost to Alireza. So okay, they're having a nice tournament and Anish could do very well if he beats Levon in this one. The problem is, and this is, I guess, something not a lot of you may know, Anish has never defeated Levon in classical time format. You can see that Levon beat Anish Giri 8-0 with 22 draws. Everyone talking about how Magnus Carlsen is everyone's kryptonite, but yeah, here Levon plays 30 games against Anish and Anish gets 0 wins. So that is, I mean, that is absolutely incredible. And if you check out the rapid time format, Levon beat Anish 30-10 with 45 draws. So again, a huge margin. So definitely Anish could do well to beat Levon here. So let's check it out. Anish with white opens with knight to f3. He goes for the reti opening, and Levon goes pawn to d5. With e3, knight f6, pawn to c4, and pawn to e6. The Agincourt defense against the English opening, we have pawn to b3 and bishop to d6. We have bishop to b2, pawn to c5, c captures on d5, e captures, and bishop to e2. We have castles by both players, and pawn to b6. Also preparing to fianchetto the light square bishop. Anish strikes in the center, pawn to d4, and bishop to b7. And there is a game where knight to c3 was played, but here we have knight b to d2, and it is now as of move 10 that we have a completely new game. So okay, rook to e8, we have knight to e5. Of course, you welcome the capture on e5, as you would free up your dark square bishop. We have c captures on d4, e captures on d4, and now knight b to d7. Knight d to f3, improving the knight on e5, everything defending the knight on e5, and also blockading the light square bishop here. So if Levon ever wants to free up this light square bishop, he will have to either sacrifice this pawn or somehow maybe put a knight on e4, force Anish to capture it, or, you know, weave his magic. We have rook to c8, rook to c1, and Levon trades the rooks. Rook captures, we have queen captures, and pawn to a6. Preparing pawn to b5, queen to g5 by Anish, and now knight to f8. Preparing to kick away the queen with knight to e6. We have rook to c1, and now knight e6. Chasing away the queen, queen goes to h4, and now queen to e7. Rook to c2, and now bishop to a3. Also, you could play maybe rook to c8, but Levon has a very clear idea of what he wants to do. Bishop a3, bishop captures, queen captures, and now knight to g4. Preparing to capture on f6 to mess up Levon's pawn structure in front of the king. Knight to e4, and now knight to e3. We have queen to b4, and now knight back to f5. And okay, the trick here is should g6, let's say, be played. Anish wants to give a check, and after Levon defends, Anish wants to capture on f7. That's the idea. And after king captures, queen captures on h7. But of course, Levon, being an attacker himself, of course, knows how to spot these things. He goes back, queen to f8. We have bishop to f1, and now pawn to g6. We have knight to h6 check and king to g7. And now Anish should go back with knight to g4. However, no, he does go back with knight to g4, but he should have went back even before going to h6. Probably going to g3 was better, because here knight to g4, and now we have pawn to h5, getting rid of any ideas Anish might have had on the king side. Knight to e3, and now Levon brings the queen back to the queen side. Queen to b4, pawn to g4. Anish opens up an attack towards Levon's king. Rook to h8, and now pawn to g5. Of course, you don't like the open h file now with the rook on h8. g5 and the rook to f8. We have bishop to h3, and knight captures on d4. Okay, Anish is giving up a pawn here. For what purpose? Let's see. Knight captures, queen captures, and now rook to c7. A very nice rook lift, and also the bishop is hanging, so what can Levon do here? You could move the bishop back, but better is queen to a1 check. And this comes with a with a trick. If you put a king on g2, then just bishop moves, and the next e4 is coming, and there is no defending this position. So Anish has to block knight to f1, and now bishop to a8. We have queen to f4. Now preparing some very tricky ideas. So let's say Levon makes an ill-considered move like a5, then bishop e6, and Levon can resign. There's no defending this f7 pawn. So after queen to f4, king to g8, Levon again spots this. He just sidesteps the rook on the 7th rank, and now comes rook to a7. It's very hard for Anish to actually find the move here. Maybe you kick away the knight. Maybe what do you play? Maybe you play a3. Maybe yeah, you could also play rook captures on f7. It's worth exploring because captures and bishop to e6, it looks like you're getting it back, but there's queen g7, and now after f3, kicking away the knight, let's say knight to c5, you will give a check, queen captures, and queen to b8 with check. The problem is queen to f8, and the queen will be guarding the bishop and the knight here. Queen captures on b6, attacks the g6 pawn, but just king h7 or g7, and that's pretty much it. Queen a7 check. Now you can even block with knight to b7, and you're just up a piece, so not much you can do here. But if you guys were wondering why not rook captures on f7, that's why not rook captures on f7. So rook to a7 by Anish, and queen to e1. If Levon was a pawn grabber, he could easily capture the pawn. It's in fact the top move recommended by the engine. But if you've seen the previous video I've made on Levon is an artist, not a butcher. He plays queen to e1, and he's preparing all sorts of nasty stuff for Anish. We have rook to e7, nicely aligning the rook with Levon's queen, but now Levon is completely winning, but you have to find the precise idea. Feel free to pause the video and win the game for Levon while I give you a couple of seconds. So, for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on spotting this very nice move. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is knight captures on f2. Again, Levon sacrifices his queen, but here only for one move, because if Anish captures it, then Levon captures on h3 with check and wins the queen back. Knight captures on f4, king g3, knight e6, and he's just going to be up a full bishop. So, of course, Anish cannot allow this. After knight captures on f2, rook to e3, guarding the bishop on h3, but now Levon's position is just better. And remember when I told you that, well, unless Levon can find a way how to free up this light square bishop, it's going to be pretty useless. Pawn to d4. It's like effortless. You know, you guys will have a light square bishop like this, and you will lose the game without this bishop ever having seen the light of day. But, you know, with Levon, yeah, he just plays d4, attacks the rook, the bishop comes alive. He's threatening all sorts of stuff here. I mean, what can Anish play here? The queen is still off limits. Knight captures on h3 is still the idea. So queen captures on d4 is played. Now knight captures on h3 with check. Rook captures, and now queen to e2, threatening checkmate on g2. So rook to g3 and rook to c8. Now Levon prepares to bring the rook into the game. Materialistically, Levon is up only a pawn, but material is not what Anish has to worry about here. We have pawn to h4. Rook to c1, threatening the knight here, queen to f4, and now comes a rook to d1. It's easy. It would be fairly easy to blunder the game here. Let's say you go rook c3. You say, okay, you capture my rook, I'm going to checkmate you on g2. All of a sudden, queen b8 check, you lose the bishop, and now you're just down material. The rook here is defended. You're gonna either lose this game or, you know, fight like a champion to save a draw. So after this, rook to d1 by Levon. We have pawn to a4, and now bishop to d5. Levon spotting all the tricks. He doesn't even allow any checks here to maybe connect with the bishop. The bishop nicely defended on d5 while still being the true star of this show. We have queen to f2. Anish offers a queen trade, hopes to go into an endgame to save this. Queen to e4. Levon threatens mate in 1. Rook to h3, and now bishop to c6, giving Anish a move, but there is no move here for Anish. He plays queen to h2, but now comes queen to f5, and he was in this position on move 46 that Anish Giri resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. The knight here is hanging. This will be checkmate, and the only way to defend the knight is play something like queen f2, then you lose the full rook. Or if you try something like this to trade rooks, you can, because if you capture the rook, then it's queen g2 checkmate. So yeah, again, brilliant stuff by Levon. Anish played well, but yeah, it seems that Levon is even without preparation, he's playing as his usual self, and by his usual self, I mean the creative, brilliant genius that we are always happy to see. And these are the standings. So yeah, another win for Levon. We'll see what happens in the Blitz section. But yeah, these are the standings. So you can see Fabiano Caruana leading the event with 15 points, followed by Wesley So with 12 and Levon Aronian with 11. So very nicely done. Third place Levon, Nepo and MVL and Alireza with 10 points, Gukesh on 9, Anish with 6, Vidit Gujarati with 4, and Ivan Šarić on 3 points. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Beautiful, beautiful stuff by Levon. Always happy to show his games, and I'm glad that you guys are enjoying them. I would like to thank Michael Hoff, Lawrence Brazer, Edward Vazo, Kevin O'Grady, and James Eugene Cashman for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to cover this event until it finishes. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day. And do use that hashtag suggestion if you have a nice Blitz game you want me to show. There will be many of them. If I miss one, could be devastating. See you soon.